So, welcome to day 2 of the social growth sprint. So, today is all about content with purpose, branding, messaging, and strategy in action. So, let's just get into it, shall we? So, what to post, why it works, and how to drive results. That is the focus of today's. So, on today's agenda, you will understand why most content fails and how structure creates consistency. You'll define 3 to 5 clear content pillars aligned to your audience and goals, as we did audience yesterday. So that should be fresh in your mind. You'll learn how to map out content to the content marketing funnel. You'll build a simple 7-day content plan that you can reuse every single week, and you will clarify post purpose with call to actions so content drives real results. So by the end of today, you'll have clear content pillars that define what to post and why. And if you're wondering, Kate, what the hell is a content pillar? It's essentially just a topic, a theme. You'll also complete a content plan that will align with your content funnel, and you should have more confidence and structure to post consistently. Quote of the day today is: consistency isn't about doing more, it's about knowing what matters and repeating it well. Yesterday, you defined who you're talking to and why, whereas today, we decide what to post with intention. So, why do most people struggle with content? Well, a few common problems of why people struggle is they are posting randomly with no clear goal, or they may be overthinking what to post, what to say, and they're creating content that doesn't convert or sit in their content marketing funnel, and they don't know the purpose of each content piece as well. If your content piece doesn't have a purpose that sits within the content funnel, there's no point in posting it. And the truth here is consistency doesn't come from motivation, it comes from structure and systems. So you will learn more about systemizing your content and coming up with a flow that works for you in day 5. But for now, let's just get into brand identity, what it is and why it matters. So, a clear identity builds loyal communities and lasting brands. So, what is a brand identity in short? Now, just to clarify here, this isn't a branding lesson. This is just touching up on brand identity, just so you have an idea. So those small business owners that maybe you haven't had a brand designer come in and design your visual aspect, or if you don't understand the other elements of brand identity, brand voice, tone, and core values, then this will just give you a little bit of an understanding without going too deep into it. So this isn't a branding lesson as such in depth. It's just a brief introduction because I think it is really important to understand what brand identity is, especially when you are posting on social media. So, what is brand identity? So, it's essentially the soul of your business, how you show up, what you stand for, and how people experience you. So, this includes things like personality, values, mission, visuals, and style, and why it matters. So, your brand identity will shape your content, your voice, and it will shape how people perceive you as a brand and as a business owner. It will also help build recognition and trust over time, and it will help your brand stay consistent even as you grow. So you can think of your brand identity as your North Star for every single caption, email, and story to make sure that everything is fully aligned. And it's the emotional signature of that your audience will remember and feel as well. So it's not all about aesthetics, it's how you sound and how you show up on social. So let's get into brand voice, tone, and core values explained, which in my opinion is much stronger than visual identity. Visual identity is still important, but having a clear voice and tone and your core values repeated throughout your messaging and positioning when you're posting on content, that is a lot stronger than just aesthetics alone. So brand voice builds brand memory. Tone builds emotional impact. Consistency in voice creates brand clarity, and clarity builds trust. So let's just break down the difference between voice and tone. So there is a slight difference here. So brand voice is your brand's personality that stays consistent, for example, confident, elegant, cheeky. The tone is the emotional expression of that voice in different situations. So, for example, it could sound urgent, friendly, calm, and this is something that you can develop yourself. You will know your brand and your business far better than anybody else. Obviously, it's your business. So a couple of examples of brand voice. First, we have Nike, and we all know Nike. So they have a tagline or a slogan that says, "Just do it." And their brand voice and feeling is all about empowering people, making people feel confident. And they're very direct and clear in the way that they speak to their ideal customer as well. And then we have Glossier, which, if you don't know, is a makeup brand. They do skincare as well, I believe. And they're a lot more casual, relatable, conversational. Their tagline, "You look good." Simple, effective, you look good. Very casual and relatable. And then Apple, quite minimalistic, innovative, and elevated as well. And their tagline is "Think different." And brand core values are the guiding principles and beliefs that shape both how your brand thinks, communicates, and makes decisions, both internally and externally. So that's just a little touch upon brand identity and brand voice and tone. Like I said, it's not an in-depth lesson, but just to give you a quick introduction, just to make sure that when you are creating content, you understand that you need to keep your brand voice and tone and your core values consistent throughout your social media content and your email marketing campaigns as well. So let's move on to differentiating your brand from your competitors. So the sharper your positioning, the easier it is to say yes. If you can position yourself well and differentiate yourself clearly from your competitors, it's more likely that people are going to trust you, you'll build credibility, and they'll buy from you because you stand out, you don't blend in with the crowd. So why differentiation is a non-negotiable? The online space is so noisy, and if you don't stand out, you will blend in. Consumers are overwhelmed. Clarity and uniqueness wins. Every single market and industry is oversaturated, but you can stand out even in a saturated market. You just need to think about how you can do so differently. So let's move on to UVP and USP. If you don't know what this stands for, it means unique value proposition, and USP means unique selling point. Similar, slightly different, but they are similar. So your UVP is a clear statement that explains what makes your brand different, better, or more valuable than your competitors in the eyes of your ideal audience. And then your USP is your unique selling point. So how can you sell differently? Once you know what your UVP is, you can figure out what your USP is. So let's just break down a UVP example, and you can find your own UVP. So first of all, to find your unique value proposition, ask yourself, what do I do differently or better than others? What values or personality traits make my brand unforgettable? And why would someone choose me over a competitor? So you can pause the video here and ask yourself these questions. You could write them down or just read them out loud and, come up with your unique value proposition if you don't already have one. But let's have a look at some real brand UVP examples. So we have Patagonia. They are a fitness, outdoor, exploration, adventure clothing brand, should we say. And their unique value proposition is they are very purpose driven. Every single thing that they do is environmentally conscious, and all of their clothing is environmentally conscious gear as well and sustainably sourced. And that is something that comes through in the value that they offer as a brand, and that's how they position themselves. So that is where their unique value proposition comes in, and that's what it is here. Then we have Liquid Death, which is different. If you don't know Liquid Death, which if you're from the UK, you may not, you probably don't. If you're based in the US, you will know Liquid Death. They are a US water brand, and they have just broken the mold and disrupted the water market. And how have they done this? Through branding and their packaging and their messaging on social media and through their other marketing channels. But it's literally a can of water just packaged in a rebellious way, and it almost looks like a punk brand. When you see the packaging, you wouldn't think it's a water brand. And that's how they've stood out in their market, is they've just completely disrupted with the visual style and the tonality of their language that they're using through their content and their marketing. I will show you a photo in a second on the next slide, just so you can see. And then we have Canva, a design tool made simple for everyone. I love Canva. I honestly use Canva every single day of my life. It is so simple and easy to use. I actually used to use Adobe for a lot of things, photo editing, video editing, pitch decks, graphics, proposals, that sort of thing. And I still use Adobe sometimes, but most of the time now I don't. I just use Canva because it's so much easier, it's affordable, and it's simplistic. And that's their unique value proposition. They've came in and they've thought, there are so many design platforms out there that you can design graphics and photos on. How can we make ours better? Let's just simplify the whole thing and make design accessible for everyone and simple. That's what they've done. That's what they've done. They've broken the market. So that's how they stand out in their industry. So here are a few photos just to familiarize yourself with the brands that we've just spoke about. So we have Patagonia, Glossier, and then Liquid Death. As you can see, that can there doesn't look like it should be water. It looks maybe more like an energy drink or an ale or something like that. Definitely not water, and that's how they've disrupted their market. So when you are coming up with your unique value proposition and your unique selling point, if you don't have one already, it's good to know what your competitors are doing so that you can find the gaps and you can slot straight in, So how can you do competitor research effectively? Your goal isn't to copy, it's to position with purpose and be aware of the landscape and then make your own lane. Don't copy. So many copycats out there and it doesn't work. So what to observe when you're looking at your competitors' content and their marketing, their messaging, how do they speak to their audience? How do they sound? Their visual style, things like colours, layouts, fonts, the vibe, engagement. So what posts get traction and where do people comment or ask questions? That's a good one because then you can see what posts get good engagement, which will be good for your when you're developing your content pillars and your content strategy and your plan and everything. And then look at gaps. What's missing in their content that you can fill in? And there's always gaps. There's so many gaps out there. I analyze content on a daily basis. One of my services is strategy building, and I do a lot of competitor research using different tools and things. And honestly, there are gaps everywhere. And once you know how to spot them, you will spot them and then you can slot straight in. But in every industry, there's gaps. There's something that you can do that hasn't been done yet. And you're not reinventing the wheel. It doesn't have to be something super extra, but there is something that you can do within your industry. And if you need any help with this, just drop me a message. So how can you research competitors effectively? How can you research them? You can either scroll manually on TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. You could use ChatGPT, use AI. Not all brands and businesses appear on AI. There are certain things that you can do so that your business will appear in AI searches, which I could do a masterclass on that if you want, but I'm not going to go into that now because that's a whole other rabbit hole. But if you do want a masterclass on how to get your brand into these AI search engines, let me know. But yes, you can use tools such as Google Alerts, BuzzSumo, Feedly. You can either just use the TikTok search bar, Creator Search Insights, Facebook Ad Library, all of these different things. You can find different competitors and different content, things like that. So you can analyze that way. But I would say using social listening tools such as BuzzSumo and Feedly are pretty good. So, building a brand people recognize and trust. So, brands that feel human build the deepest loyalty, okay? So, what are the 3 pillars of brand trust? We have visual identity, content consistency, authenticity. So, visual identity is your fonts, your color palette, your logos, your social layout, and everything should feel cohesive and aligned. And then your content consistency is making sure that your voice sounds the same, your format, your values across platforms are the same, making sure that that consistency is there so that you will be remembered and people will know who you are, and having the same energy in stories, emails, reels, captions. And then we have authenticity. So builds real emotional connection when you're authentic, when you're when you humanize your brand, that is what will make people connect with you. People now in 2026 definitely don't connect with overly polished aesthetic content that is just not relatable at all. Authenticity wins all the way. And it creates consistency and credibility as well. And you can stand out in a crowded market because there's only one of you and there's only one of me. So if we're showing up online as ourselves, or you can have a persona of yourself that you like people to see. They don't need to know everything about your life. They don't need to know all of your personality traits, but just pick a type of you. We all have different types of us in different layers and, different personas, as you'll know when we go in different social groups, or how we are with our boyfriend. We're different with our partners, as we are with our family, as we are with our friends, as we are with clients and stuff like that. So we all have different personas. So just pick a persona that you want your audience to see and just hone in on that, because nobody can compete with that, because you are you and they are them. We can't compete with our personal brand, okay? So chapter 7, let's get into chapter 7, the content marketing funnel. We did touch upon this yesterday. But let's just go over this slide again. We did have this slide in day 1, but just to give you a little bit of a reminder that top of funnel is all about attracting new audiences and getting new faces on your brand. Middle of funnel is all about building trust and nurturing your target audience. Bottom of funnel is to sell and get conversions. Your audience heads to your website and they buy. And then bottom of funnel is retention. Nurture current customers to ensure repeat purchase. Okay, so funnels help prevent wasted content efforts by aligning all of your content type to where the audience is in their decision process. So what is a content marketing funnel? It's basically just a stage path from awareness, evaluation, conversion, and then retention. And like I said, they are important because it will prevent wasted content efforts by aligning your content correctly. And key points to understand: your audience doesn't always follow a linear funnel. There's overlap, loops, back and forth. For example, someone revisits awareness content after seeing a conversion pitch. That will happen. It's not linear like it used to be before we had the rise of TikTok and Instagram and organic social media. KPI alignment for each stage of the funnel. Make sure that you know what metrics you should be tracking as well. KPI just stands for key performance indicator, which is just a metric. Just so you know, key performance indicator is just a metric that indicates a performance of something, so that you can analyze that strategically and decide whether you want to change the strategy or stick with it. So let's go into the awareness stage, stopping the scroll. People are searching through Instagram, and you need to have a piece of content that's going to grab their attention and make them stop in their tracks and watch your video. So this is just the main goal here, is just to capture the attention, reach visibility, and introduce the brand without selling upfront. No selling at this stage, you're just introducing the brand. So how can you capture attention and awareness on social media? So a few ways that you can do this is through trending reel concepts, educational, informational content, entertaining comedic content, shock value hooks. There are lots of different things that you can do to stop people in their tracks, which in day 4, I will go over different types of content: evergreen, reactive, storytelling, and viral content. We do go over that in day 4. You can also use SEO and search intent. So SEO stands for search engine optimization. So using keyword research to match your audience queries when they are looking for solutions. They may not be ready to purchase yet, but having an understanding of what your target audience are searching for is really important here. So a few ways that you can do this is there are a few different tools. I would suggest Answer the Public. That is the best tool, in my opinion, for keyword research, and it's free. And TikTok Creator Search Insights. And you can also just use the TikTok and Instagram search bar. Once you know the keywords that people are searching for, you can pack your content full of these keywords. So making sure as well that each content piece is topical and about one specific topic so that the algorithm can easily categorize your piece of content is key. So the main point of the awareness stage is literally just to stop people in their tracks and get their attention. Evaluation phase, so this is where you're building trust and you're nurturing your audience. So whilst you're doing that, your target customer is currently evaluating how they feel about your brand. So you're trying to bring them from stranger to fan. So you're just trying to build trust, deepen the relationship, and establish authority and rapport. Show value and how your product and service solves their pain points. You're essentially nurturing your audience. So how can we induce consideration on social media? So a few content types that are really good for this phase of the funnel are case studies, behind the scenes, interviews, testimonials, frequently asked questions, storytelling posts behind the scenes, user-generated content, frequently asked questions, I've already said that one, polls, carousels with tips. So lots of different content types. It fit really, really well at this stage. Social media nurtures differently. It's about consistency, relatability, and showing your face. Humanize your brand, put a face to the brand, and you will see your engagement skyrocket. Trust me, you will. So a few emotional drivers that you can include in your content at this stage could be fear of missing out, doubt about decision, and trust building with authenticity and consistency. And an advanced tip here, utilize email or direct messaging to push nurture content, drip campaigns, or a follow-up series. So moving on to conversion stage, turning engagement into sales. So you've stopped them in their tracks, you've stopped the scroll, and they've watched your video and they followed you. And then they're seeing more of your content, they're seeing your Instagram stories, and then they're seeing more of your content, more of your Instagram stories, and you have built trust and they feel a lot more ready to buy from you. They may have signed up to your email marketing list at this point. They're receiving emails from you. So now it's all about conversion, actually getting a sale from them. How can you turn this momentum and engagement into a sale without sounding too salesy and too pushy either? Because people don't like to be sold too harshly on social media. People go onto social platforms to be entertained. They don't go on to be sold to, even though we get sold to every single day by so many ads, paid ads and organic ads. That's not our intent of using social. Well, sometimes it is. Sometimes if you know you want to go and buy something, consciously, sometimes I will search for different products on TikTok and then buy something that I think aligns with what I'm looking for. But most of the time when we are on social media, we're not looking to be sold to, we're just looking to be entertained. We're having a little break from life, scrolling on our phones. So how can you get conversions on social media? So content types that work well for this phase of the funnel are testimonials, product demos, side-by-side before and after transformation photos, limited time offers, case studies, and having strong call to actions as well in your captions and in your text on screen, and a verbal call to action as well if you are speaking to camera or doing a voiceover. Tactical urgency, deadlines, scarcity, bonuses to push decisiveness. Those are all little tactics that you can use to drive a sale quicker. I'm sure you've all been on many websites and it says sale ends in 2 hours and something, and most of the time the sale doesn't end at that time. It's just a tactic that they use. Now, it's up to you how you use these tactics. Some businesses prefer not to. Some businesses don't run sales at all. Depends how you want to be perceived. And depends what your product is as well and your target market. All of these factors, will drive your sales strategy. An advanced tactic here is you can use your story highlights as mini sales pages. Also, your Instagram stories, not just your story highlights, but your stories in general, are a really good way to sell to people organically, because the people that watch your Instagram stories are your warm target audience. They're not your cold audience. So they're already ready to buy. They already trust you. They're already following you. They already have an interest in your product and your business. So using your Instagram stories to soft sell to people is a good strategy on social, and keeping your grid posts and your reels to attract and nurture. That's a really good strategy that lots of brands can adopt. And then we have the retention phase. So keep them coming back. Once you've got your customers, the goal is to turn buyers into loyal fans and repeat customers. How can you get them back? So I don't touch up on this too much in this sprint. I really don't go into the retention marketing too much here, but I did just want to pop it in. So if you have some time, you can develop your own retention strategy if you like, or if you would like me to do a masterclass on this as one of the free masterclasses that we do every month, just let me know. This could be a really good one. But yes, how can we encourage retention, repeat custom? So content through your content, post purchase tips. So once someone's bought your product, you could say, how to get the most out of this product, or 3 ways you could get the most out of this, or something. You can also send emails to people who have already bought your product, giving tips of how to get the most out of that product once they've already bought it. So you're still giving them some valuable information. Loyalty offers, VIP behind the scenes. You could have a broadcasting channel for current customers. There are a few different things that you can do for the retention phase. But like I said, this is a very, very quick introduction to retention marketing. So understanding the buyer journey. This is called the AIDA framework. And AIDA is a classic marketing framework that explains how people move from discovering your brand to taking action. So we have attention, capture with scroll stopping content. Think hooks, bold visuals, trends, relatable pain points. The goal here is just to make them stop and notice you. This is similar to the content marketing funnel, but a bit different. So this is the journey that the buyer will go on. So the funnel is something that you've mapped out and you've got different content ideas, but understanding the journey that they go on through the funnel is important as well. That's why I have just inserted this slide. So yes, the attention phase is just to make people stop and notice you. Then we have interest, build curiosity and connection. So think education, storytelling, behind the scenes, value-led posts. And the goal here is to keep them watching, reading and learning more. And then we have desire. Show them why your product service matters. Why should they desire your product? And this goes back to the target audience breakdown that we did yesterday. Is once you understand what they desire, you can show this through your content. Once you know their pain points, you can show this through your content. Once you know how they think and feel and act, you can show this through your content. So everything links back to understanding your target audience that we did yesterday. And then we have action. You guide them to the next step. Think call to actions, offers, links, bookings, signups. And the goal here is to turn that attention into action. So that is the AIDA framework. Now let's go on to content pillars. So content pillars are 3 to 5 core themes your brand consistently talks about. You don't need to have loads. 3 to 5, no more than 5. 5 is too much. Sorry, more than 5 is too much. Even 5 can be a lot. I would just suggest starting out with 3. But yes, definitely no more than 5. So a content pillar ensures that your content feels cohesive. You're more likely to build trust because you have consistent themes and topics that you're talking about. And it will support your goal as well, making sure that the pillars are aligned with your content marketing funnel. So if you're thinking, I don't know what a content pillar is, I don't know what I should have, I don't know what topics or ideas I should be using as content pillars, let's have a look at this slide. So here are a few content pillars for consumer brands. So education, tips, how-tos, myths, quick wins, industry knowledge. And when you're developing your content pillar, don't just put education. What topics are you educating people on? So say, for example, you could be a sustainable swimwear brand and you are very eco-conscious and very sustainable in everything that you do. You could educate people on the dangers of fast fashion. So picking a topic that you can educate people about that aligns with your business. It doesn't necessarily have to be about your product or your service, just about your industry. Something that's going to be interesting to people as well, and something that is a core value to your target audience. So thinking of those core values that you as a brand and your target audience share, because then when you're speaking about those values, that is when the connection is going to come in, because they'll completely relate to what you're saying because they have those same core values. So then we have trends, lifestyle, and culture. trending concepts, comedy skits, cultural moments, that sort of thing. So then we have social proof and credibility. I think every brand should have this one. Reviews, testimonials, user-generated content. You're basically showing people that our product works, our products work, they transform lives, and we've got the receipts to prove it. We have the testimonials, we have the before and after photos. We can prove that our product or service works. And then we have brand story and values. This will really differentiate yourself between you and your competitors and other brands in your market, because no one can compete with your personal brand story. You hold that close to you. That's not something that another brand has. So leveraging that and going all in on that will strengthen your brand and make you stand out more. Why you exist, what you stand for, and your mission. And then we have product spotlight. So what is it, how it works, what makes it different? So this is when you can get product focused and speak about more of the features and the transformation and the benefits of the product. This content pillar would sit really well within the conversion stage of the funnel. Actually, I have from left to right, these content pillars go from attraction and awareness, building trust and credibility, to getting the sale. So the first two, education, lifestyle, trends, and culture, those two content pillars are really good to attract. Social proof, credibility, brand story, and values, really good to build trust and connection and credibility. And then we have product spotlight, offers, and promotions at the end. Those are two content pillars that are really good for driving more conversions and sales. So if you would like to use any of these content pillars and adapt them to how you like, feel free, take a picture, screenshot, whatever you would like to do, write them down. And you can always come back to this at any point as well. You have access for a lifetime. So mapping content to the funnel, every single post should serve a purpose. If you are creating a piece of content and it doesn't align with one of these phases in the content marketing funnel, don't post it. If you can't name the purpose, don't post it. So top of funnel, content to attract. Few ideas here, few content ideas. Tips, hacks, how-to guides, quick, visually engaging reels, TikToks, educational content, entertaining content, lifestyle posts showing aspirational use of your product. As you can see, there are lots of different content ideas that you can do. Don't let this overwhelm you either. Don't get overwhelmed with this. Just pick a few and stick to them. Middle of funnel, content to nurture, customer stories, testimonials, UGC, educational carousels, email newsletters. Those are a few different content marketing examples that you can use. And the goal here is to build trust, authority, and connection with your audience. And then we have content to sell. So this is more product focused and more salesy. Product showcases or demos, limited time offers, case studies, step-by-step guides, scarcity driven posts, cart abandonment reminders, which is an email flow that we will go over in more detail on day 3. So there are a few content ideas there that you can have a look through. Let's move on to chapter 8, the 5 stages of awareness. So this, again, is similar to the content marketing funnel, but these are different stages of awareness that you want to bring your audience through when creating content. I wasn't too sure whether to put this in because it is similar to the content marketing funnel and the buyer journey and the AIDA framework that we went through. But this is a very well-known, spoken about framework and principle by a lot of marketers in the marketing world. So I did feel like it was important to share this as well. So it is similar, but the 5 stages of awareness. So you're basically moving your target customer from unaware to problem aware, solution aware, product aware, and then most aware. So unaware, they don't know who you are, they're your cold audience, they don't even know that they have a problem. Say, for example, you have a shower filter brand and you sell shower filters. Not everyone will know that water's bad for you. People don't think that in Western countries. People don't think water from my shower is bad for you. How? People don't know they have a problem. So you need to educate people once you've made them aware of who you are, and then we move on to problem aware. make sure that they know that they have a problem. If they don't know that they have a problem, why are they going to show any interest in your brand? Why are they going to show any interest in your product? So you need to make sure that they know that they have a problem, and your content highlights pain points and it will resonate with them. So, solution aware. Audience knows solutions exist, but they don't necessarily know it's from your brand. So you have your shower filter, and they know now, oh, water's bad for me. Okay, it's bad for my hair and skin. I should get a shower filter. I didn't realize I was drying my skin out, or didn't realize chemicals were drying my hair out in the shower. Oh gosh. So there is a solution to this then. You inject yourself as the brand, as the solution, and show them the product. And then product aware, similar to solution aware, but going in deeper, speaking about the product itself, the features, the benefits, the price, that sort of thing. And showing social proof as well at this phase. So, for example, over 10,000 happy customers swear by our shower filter or sleep formula. I've put a sleep example here for a sleeping vitamin brand. And then we have most aware, ready to buy. Your audience is familiar. They're ready to purchase. They know they have a problem. They know you have the solution to their problem. They know you have a product that works because you've shown testimonials, social proof, UGC, credibility. And then they go, yeah, we're ready to buy. Let's buy your product. So they're familiar. So this is where you need strong call to actions, and you can use scarcity and FOMO, these sales techniques. If you want me to do a masterclass on soft selling techniques, let me know. We do go over some soft selling versus hard selling techniques in this sprint. So let me know once you've got to that phase, and if you want me to do a deeper dive on the psychology of sales, let me know and I can do that as well. So let's move on to chapter 9, content formatting and idea generation. That supports your content pillars, reels, carousel, static posts, and stories. So this keeps content fresh without reinventing the wheel, okay? So let's have a look at a few examples of these. But just to give you an idea of different formatting and examples, is Argos. You may have seen some of their content online. They are absolutely killing it with the comedy skits. Their whole organic social media feed is just one big joke. It's so funny. I absolutely love watching their content. It's very entertaining. Not all of their content's like this though. Argos is a really good one to go and look through because you will spot different content types. You will know what content types sit at different parts of the content funnel when you scroll through their content. So please go and have a look through Argos's TikTok page and Instagram page. But this one was pulled from their Instagram page, and they do a lot of comedy skits in the form of reels. And then we have carousel. That's another format that you can use, and that's the one where people swipe through if you don't know what a carousel is. These are really good to build social proof, nurture, build trust. Good for educational content, good for lists, guides, checklists, that sort of thing. As you can see, the example I put here is Salt, an electrolyte brand. They only launched last year in 2025, I believe, maybe late 2024 they launched. And they just sell electrolyte sachets and water bottles as well now. But their content is very founder-led, very founder-driven. And I love what they've done with this carousel here, because they've done a founder's POV reading their reviews. And they've also, the hook that they've used on the first slide is a negative review. They've selected a review that has 0 stars. That will capture people's attention. People will think, why have you picked that review? And then they'll scroll because they're curious, it sparks curiosity. So I really do love what they've done with this carousel here, because they're injecting a sense of their founder's journey. They've personalized it and humanized it with a photo of them two in the carousel. They're also sharing the social proof because they're going through, obviously, reviews. They do have good reviews that they go through in the other slides. And then they've used a strong hook, which is having that visual hook of showing a review with 0 stars. So it's clever. It's really clever. I think Salt are onto something with their marketing. Loads of marketers are talking about them at the moment. They're absolutely crushing it. And then we have Trip Drinks. They have done a reel here behind the scenes. of a shoot on one of their shoot days. And then we also have Instagram story. That's another format that you can use where you would post promotional content to try and get people to buy things from you. So, and then the other format you can use is just a single static post, which I've picked filter by Molly May here. And that sort of content lies in the conversion part of the funnel because it's a product photo. And it's just a pretty product photo, that's all it is. There's nothing really else to it. It's a conversion type piece of content. So, content idea generation flow. So when you're coming up with content ideas, here's a little flow that you can implement. So step 1, start with your goals. Is it to attract, nurture, or convert? You should have a goal for each one, but making sure that you know that what your goals are. Step 2, choose your content pillar. So it could be product spotlight, social proof, educational, brand story. Then step 3, pick your format. What format are you going to create that in? Is it a carousel, a reel? Is it a Instagram story, a static? Maybe it's one of each. Maybe you could repurpose that one idea. And then step 4, add inspiration source. Where are you pulling inspiration from when you are generating your idea? Is it from your frequently asked questions, customer queries, competitor research, trends, personal stories? Basically, you just identify what is inspiring that topic or content idea. And then refine for funnel stage. You could create a different variation of this topic and idea for different stage of the funnel. Optional, repurpose and expand. Yes, so convert one idea into multiple formats. And you could also turn one long form piece of content into small pieces of content as well, which we do go over in day 5, how to repurpose content effectively. So I hope everything's sounding good so far. Hope you are having a good understanding of the content marketing funnel, the buyer customer journey, and content pillars, and all of those things. So let's move on to the 7-day content plan framework. So this is a framework I've put together for a gym wear brand, just as an example. But the idea is once you've mapped out different content ideas that sit within different phases of the funnel, you can repeat that same structure every single week. So say, for example, on a Monday, you're going to be posting a piece of content that lies within the top of the funnel, the attraction phase. And your content pillar for this could be educational content, whatever that topic of education is up to you to decide. And then the content idea itself could be 3 tips when preparing for a marathon, for example. And the platforms there, TikTok and Instagram. And then Tuesday, you could also post another piece of content that lies in the attraction phase, and the same content pillar, educational. Upper body workout routine. So people that are going to buy gym gear are people that go to the gym. So that type of educational content will grab their attention. And that's why it sits at the top of funnel. And then on a Wednesday, it could be middle of funnel, nurture, building trust. And the content pillar could be social proof and credibility. And the idea is a UGC video of somebody talking to the camera, for example. And then Thursday, you could do another attraction type of content, content pillar, trends, lifestyle, and culture. And the content idea could be a comedy skits of newbies at the gym on the 1st of January. I'm sure we've all seen those comedy skits of people not using the equipment properly. And it's not to be unsensitive about, newbies at the gym. It's just humor. It's just funny, depending on what sort of target audience you have. Decide if you want to inject some humor and comedy skits into your content split. So yes, you get the idea. I won't go through Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You get the idea. It's just coming up with a simple framework that you can copy every single week to make sure that you are posting content every single week that sits within your funnel. You're hitting all 3 funnel stages. So a simple rule here could be 4 attraction posts, 2 nurture posts, and 1 sales focus posts a week, because this will build growth without feeling salesy. And like I said, people don't like to be sold too harshly. Now, this could be for your reels and grid posts. Feel free to sell on your Instagram stories 3 or 4 times a week if you want. That's where your warm audience lies. But yeah, this is just a good framework to make sure that you're hitting all of the different funnel phases in your content. So remember, content is transactional. People exchange their attention for value. So if there is no value in the piece of content, they won't watch it. So if you're posting too much selfish content, that can put people off. But also you do want to post some content that is about you, aka your personal brand, your journey, the series that you've been on, but maybe just positioning it in a way where you're still giving value back. Chapter 11, the 6-point content quality framework. This is a framework I have created, and it is just basically 6 points that you need to remember, or 6 checkpoints to make sure that your content is good and of good quality, essentially. So we have focus. Make the video about one clear idea. If it's easy to describe and categorize, it's easy for the algorithm and your audience to understand. Then we have topical. Anchor your content to conversations people are already having, trends, questions, pain points, and current movements. Searchable. Make sure your content is searchable, making sure that it will show up when people are searching certain keywords on these platforms, okay? Make sure your content is specialized as well. Speak to a specific problem, person, or outcome. The more specific your content is, the more it will resonate with your target audience. Make sure that it's structured as well. So high performing content is engineered, not accidental. Strong hooks, having a clear flow, intentional pacing, keep people watching, keep people engaged. You can literally engineer attention through structured videos, which I go over this more in day 4. I have a whole lesson on engineered attention. So I'm excited for you to see that. Valuable. Make sure that it's valuable as well. Like I said, content is transactional, so people trade attention for value. Every video should educate, inspire, or entertain in some way. Ideally, doing more than one at the same time. So those are 6 points that you need to keep in mind when you're creating content. And if you think that your content hits all of these 6 points, you've got a good video. You've got a bloody good video if you do that. Not necessarily a viral video, but a good video that will reach the right target audience and it will grow and compound over time, okay? So let's move on to chapter 12, writing captions and CTAs, call to action. So caption writing framework, let's get into it. This is a very, very simple, basic caption writing framework, but I didn't want to spend too much time on caption writing in this sprint because I felt like there are a lot of other chapters and lessons and topics that I would rather take a deep dive into. But this basic caption writing formula is basically starting with a hook to grab attention in the first line, make it bold, relatable, or intriguing. Value, educate, entertain, inspire, provide useful tips, insights, or stories. And then call to action, tell them what to do next. Keep it simple and aligned with the post goal, okay? That's a simple framework that you can use for your caption writing. Then we have call to actions. So why most call to actions don't work in short form content. Most brands do this. They hook perfectly, they deliver great value, and then they don't say anything. They don't direct anyone to do anything. You should always have a call to action at the end of your video, in your caption and text on screen. So they just hope that the viewer finds out the next step, and that's not a strategy. That is just wishful thinking, okay? So if you don't tell people what to do next, they probably won't do anything. And remember here, a call to action, it's not necessarily about selling, it's about guiding behavior, not necessarily all about sales. And then we have the 3-layer call to action framework, engineering the click. So layer 1 is verbal, spoken naturally, the same energy as the video. So say, for example, save this for later, link in our bio for the full guide, follow for more tips, that sort of thing. And then layer 2 is the visual. Lots of people watch content on mute. Loads of people watch content on mute. So making sure that there's text on screen and maybe an arrow, an emoji or something to make sure that the call to action is very visible. Make sure that the color of it stands out. If you are wearing a black t-shirt, you wouldn't want your call to action in black writing. Make it, white, so it's the opposite color, or a color that stands out within your color scheme. And then we have the written call to action as well. So a few examples could be grab the free checklist, link in bio, or DM event for access. So the brands that win on social media are the ones that show up like creators, not corporations. I said it. There I go. I said it. In modern day 2026 digital marketing, organic social media marketing, should I say, because this is the focus of this sprint, is organic social with a little bit of email marketing strategy injected in here as well. But the main focus of this sprint is organic social. So show up like a creator, think like a creator, not a corporation, and you will build an audience so much quicker than if you show up like a big corporation. Okay, humanize the brand. People love people. The algorithm loves faces. Show up like a creator. So let's just do a quick recap of today. So by now, I'm sure you are feeling a lot more confident with content pillars. And I hope that you feel confident that you've built a strong foundation by aligning your branding, messaging, positioning with content strategy. You've defined your content pillars for each stage of the funnel, learned how to give every single post a purpose instead of posting randomly, and gained confidence of what to post and how to show up consistently as a creator-led brand. So next steps, I'd like you to head to Day 2 workbook to complete the exercises to develop your personalized content strategy over there. And a little bit of an insight of what's coming up tomorrow. We're going to go into email marketing tomorrow. We're going to learn about the importance of email marketing, automated email flows every brand needs, how to capture subscribers, aka lead magnet. We'll map out your first email sequence if you haven't got one yet already, or you may have a welcome sequence built. If you do have a welcome sequence already built, you can build one of the other email flows that I will touch upon tomorrow. You will also learn how to get more email opens, and I'll go over some seasonal and one-off email campaigns that you could use as well. So if you have any questions, don't forget to reach out to me in the group chat. And if you haven't yet said hello in the community group, introduce yourself, please. If you haven't yet, say hello, introduce yourself and your brand. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed today. But yeah, I will see you in tomorrow's session.